Hello everybody, how are you? And again, how are you? Hope you're well, hope you're keeping in extremely good health and in perfect happiness. Today I woke up to the news that in order to get monetized on YouTube, one has to have 8,000 hours. 8,000. And you know what makes this so sad is that last year I was at the brink of being monetized, and somehow I went on my unexplained hiatus and I was gone and I didn't care about film. So I used to upload shots every now and then, but yeah, I should have just stayed the course. So it got me thinking about the feminine journey and consistency. When it comes to being feminine, we really have to drive home the point that feminine energy is not about being performative. It's not about putting on a show. It's not about getting one up on other people. It is really a tool that we can all use for personal development, because the more you are in your feminine journey, the more softer you're going to become, and the softer you become, the more you allow, and the more you allow for things to be how they're supposed to be, you're going to have an easier way to go through life, because life is extremely challenging. You're going to wake up to 8,000 hours. Minimum requirement in order for you to make $1. Everything is energy on this realm, and even beyond as well. Like before we come into form, we were spirit. We were just there out in the void until there was that connection, right? So the more you see it that way, it means that it's not going to be about it looking a certain way, but rather thinking of it as energy, frequency, which leads on to frequency, and then frequency leads on to vibration, right? So the more we are in our feminine energy, like I said, the softer we become, and the more softer we become, things become easier. Why? Because there's that sense of there's that sense of acceptance, and in accepting things the way they are instead of fighting, it means we are being softer, right? Of course, there are moments where we have to fight, put the masculine to work. He must work. There has to be that balance, and timing is everything as well. Again, back to watch time. If I had really stayed the course and continued filming last year in particular, then perhaps I would have made the cut, right? So timing is everything. For everything under the sun, there is a season, and the more disobedient we are, the harder things get. That we are suppressing our immune system, we are not digesting our food, we are not sleeping better, we are not thinking better. We're going to find ways and things to numb our pain because we're trying to escape. So there is that sense of softness, and in doing that, we are actually healing our immune systems. We are actually allowing better things to come and find us. And think of it as the 11:11. I hate that. No, I don't really hate it per se, but I feel like it's very common. Like if you see these synchronicities and blah blah blah, but it has to be something that is closer to you, something that is, perhaps you were praying and asking God for a sign and being in that vibration and being in that frequency, and then suddenly you meet a person who's going to introduce you to somebody else, or maybe they have a conversation with you, and then they plant seeds, and seeds that germinate into brilliant ideas. And it could be the synchronicity in the sense that you wanted, like I mentioned in my previous video, that I'm going through a tomato red phase. This is one of the tops that I picked up from Zara, and bearing in mind that I hardly go into Zara, they were heavily discounted, and these are tops that I can wear for a very long time because there was that obedience. So the more obedient you are to showing up, the more feminine you become, then everything else falls into place. And that which is not yours, the allowing and the softening, let it fall. Let it fall like meat off the bone. It's okay. The more they fall, it means that they were not for you. They have been for us. No doubt they would have continued with us, right? So if anybody is going to live your life, or anything is going to live your life because you are listening to the call of your heart, you are listening to the wisdom of your body, you are dropping into the body more than you are up here with the noise, if they cannot relate to you on that level, on that frequency, on that vibration, then chances are they're just not meant for you, and that's okay. There is that sense of, again, softness and allowing. So this 8,000 hours really stirred up a lot of things in my soul, because I began to think about, again, I'm the princess of hiatus, right? I take a hiatus as many times as I like and all those things. And when you do that, it means you're in disobedience, right? And it got me thinking that it's not just about taking a break, is it? It really is self-sabotage. And I was like, God, I'm listening. So it means that you don't want it bad enough, whatever it is that you're going after. If you give up easily, or if you take, again, a 2-week-long hiatus from showing up to a business, like the shop is closed, it's closed, you're going to lose your regular clients, you're going to lose your hours, and it doesn't propel us forward, does it? So on your feminine journey, don't self-sabotage because you think that you're not worthy, or because you don't look a certain way, you don't dress a certain way, you don't talk in a baby voice. How do I talk in a baby voice? You don't need to talk in a baby voice. You have to talk like you, because the people that are for you, they will find you. And those that are not meant for you, they will leave. Again, softness and allowing, following that cycle. So every time you sabotage, it means that perhaps you haven't really sat down with yourself and have a conversation as to why. We spoke about philosophizing and really asking why, what of it, what are we doing here, what is the concept, what is the big picture, and really defining that this works for any area of life, really, relationally, spiritually, emotionally, financially, intellectually. It's about staying focused on the why. So every time you self-sabotage, every time let's say you have a dinner date and you want to put on a pair of jeans instead of putting on a dress, just trying a little bit. Self-sabotage, maybe you're not ready for the relationship, maybe you don't want it bad enough, or it could be in terms of saving as well. Instead of putting away $100 or whatever amount, it really doesn't matter. Different tax brackets, right? That's irrelevant. The point is, if you are easily parting with the money, then it means that you don't want that nest egg to grow, do you? So yeah, every time you self-sabotage, every time you do the exact opposite, or maybe you're in a fight with your partner, instead of raising your voice and throwing your hands, just sit with it, or just say, I hear you, can I just go for coffee? When I come back, we can talk about it. More calm, right? Instead of flying off the handle. So don't self-sabotage. Things will get harder. And in self-sabotaging, it means that we are being disobedient, and God doesn't like disobedience. What does it say? What does the Bible say about disobedience? It says something about disobedience. Worry less, pray more. Scroll less and pray more. And the answer here is prayer. When you pray, you're believing God for something bigger than yourself, and you have faith. God actually says, one of the most popular Psalms, obviously I love Psalms, I love David, the man after God's own heart. When you get the heart, you get everything, literally. The more you realize that everything is a heart matter, everything is, again, back to vibration and energy. So before you say anything, it's just about the heart, it's about your essence, it's about you as a person, not so much the performance, right? So back to what I was saying. Yes, favorite Psalm, Psalm 23, God says, I will prepare a table before you in the presence of your enemies. Before you. God didn't say, I'm going to prepare a table, and then you're out there on your hiatus doing whatever it is that you're doing. And sometimes the enemy is not just the enemy as in a person, send it back to sender. Absolutely not. Sometimes the enemy is the self-sabotage, literally. It's a It's a heart matter, right? Sometimes the enemy is self-sabotage, but there's that requirement of showing up. If you're showing up, if you have the willingness to show up, God will do the impossible. God will take those who are at the back, starting with the Z, and then bring them to the A, to the forefront. But there's that requirement of showing up. So every day you show up in your feminine energy, you are just more relaxed, you're more centered. And the more you do so, the more you change the vibration, the more you change your essence, the more you change the frequency. Yes, we can dress up for it. I'm all for that. We've spoken, we have countless and countless of videos pertaining to dressing up for the feminine. The armor helps, and clothed cognition is something real that has been scientifically and psychologically proved. But now the frequency and the energy and the vibration, that is sold separately. And in showing up, it means that we're getting stronger. In showing up, it means that we gain more confidence and we make more contact and we heal ourselves as well. Because when you actionize it, when you put it into practice, it's like building a muscle, building abs. Abs are not going to show up just because you lifted baby weights, like 2 kilos, and then called it a day. You've gone to the gym. Does that mean you haven't gone to the gym? No, it means you've gone to the gym. But if you're going to want the muscle to be built up, you're gonna lift heavy. So by showing up and doing the heavy stuff in your masculine, so that the feminine can emerge. Last but certainly not least, you already have everything. God is saying, I've given you enough IQ to fill up an egg cup. In the manner of J.K. Rowling. Oh God, enough IQ to fill up an egg cup. You have the phone, you have the microphone, you have the tripod, or not. I actually do not have a tripod now because I yanked away the tripod connector. I don't know. The screw, I yanked it off because I'm extremely heavy-handed. So now I have to improvise. I cannot find an angle, but for some unknown reason, if you see the setup, you're going to just be like, oh dear God. And one move, I promise you, everything will just fall apart. But this is what I have to work with because I had to try different angles and different angles. So this is the angle that works for me. And so yeah, there are no excuses now. If you can consume, you can create, right? It's not about waiting for perfection. It's not about waiting until you're 52 kilos in order to feel like your most confident self. Feel more confident as you lose the weight or gain the weight. Some people are for BBLs, other people are not. I'm personally not. I think I've told you several times about how I used to struggle with how I struggled when I hit puberty because my body exploded. And I mean exploded. I had Africans, the way we are built, I was naturally skinny growing up and until puberty hit, and it was unbearable. I had that J-Lo booty. I hated it. I used to diet. And my aunts used to gather me together and be like, no, you don't have to do that. The more you diet, you're going to lose everything else. But that tush is not going anywhere until I began to just, the more as I got older, then my body shaped itself into what it is now. Of course, now I do work out, which is why you should never, ever follow somebody's path. Instead, be inspired, but also listen to your own, to the wisdom of your soul, basically. And self-individuation is really not only a time saver, an energy saver, a frequency saver, but also energetically and in terms of confidence as well, because you're working with your own stuff and what God has given you. Game of Thrones, Arya was gifted a very thin, babyish sword by Jon Snow, and she called it Needle, and she loved that sword. She loved it. So she was asked, what is this? Somebody asked, does he have a name? She said, yeah, his name is Needle. And why Needle? And then she said, because Sansa has her own needles, because Sansa used to love to sew, and she was good at designing clothes. Arya wasn't into that. She hated every second of it, but Sansa, that was her joy. And so she said, well, Sansa has your own needles, and now I have my own needle, and that's the name of the sword. So your needle doesn't have to be the same as anybody's needle. You have to define it for yourself, because it's for you. It's what lights you up. It's what excites you. It doesn't have to be similar to everybody, and that's why the algorithm is so confusing right now, because everybody is dressing like everybody, and it's a shame, because we lose our essence, and then we have that feeling of not feeling adequate, and then we don't show up, because what we see and what we are might not really reconcile. So bend all those things, cross the Rubicon River and the men of Julius, cross it and never look back, and change everything. Transform your mind, renew your mind, and show up every day. So no more sabotaging because it doesn't look the way it does on a certain somebody. It's your own journey. You define it for yourself, and stay the course. You already have everything that you desire to go after that which you want. You don't even need permission. Why? Because no one is coming to give you the permission. So even King David said, shall I pursue, Lord? No, he didn't go on to search and do research. Sometimes it's about just praying. Shall I pursue, Lord? Will I overtake and recover all? And what did God say? You shall pursue, overtake, and recover all. So let's pray. More praying, less scrolling, because that's how we listen more. That's how we will be at the right place at the right time, and have all those delicious synchronicities, more than just 11:11. So that being said, love one another, take care of one another, and be kind to one another, if nothing else. I shall be seeing you in my next video. Bye.